Hey everyone, this is team number 3. Today we are going to make a video on use of drugs in high school, and now we are going to show you some reasons why people start using drugs in high school.
Wanted to fit in.
Wasn't a popular kid in school, and it made me forget about all that.
Like, oh yeah, everybody else is doing it, so I'm gonna do it.
Friends were doing it.
I just wanted to jump right in and have fun. I did drugs because it seemed like it was fun.
It was the cool thing to do.
The cool thing to do was to get high, go to parties.
Growing up, you struggling.
Couldn't deal with life, so I didn't have to deal with life.
I wouldn't listen to anyone.
I was stubborn.
Like as a rebellious thing.
This is what the rebel kids were doing.
I just wanted to see what it was like.
I started experimenting with it.
Experimenting with friends.
First tried it because I was bored.
I was always up to try something new.
You know, when I was growing up, we had this program. It was just say no, just say no.
Hi, now here are some facts about high school drug problem. 1 in every 6 high school student is addicted to drugs. 13 is an average age when a high school student starts drinking alcoholic beverages, and 14 is an average age when a high school student starts consuming pot, and 70% of these high school students are actually believed to use marijuana on daily purposes, and 80% of these high school students don't believe marijuana or steroids as an actual drugs. And there is a studies done by University of Michigan that shows that 25% of the students have actually smoked a cigarette by the 8th grade, and 17% of students have actually started using crack or cocaine by the 8th grade. The death toll has been actually increased by 40% of deaths in North American continental of high school students due to drugs since last decade.
Now we are going to show you a documentary on a real life person who has experienced drugs in his real life, and he's going to share his story with you.
Hey buddy, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Long time no see, eh?
Yes, you bet.
How things going good?
Things are going great today.
Hey, we going to make a documentary regarding about school children's drug addiction.
Yeah.
Especially teenagers, right? I know you are now sober for 6 years and all, and do you like to help us to do this one successful?
I would.
At what age you started your drugs addiction?
Well, my addiction, I started using at the age of 9. You know, I began to steal alcohol from my parents.
Oh.
And they would drink a little bit at home, and then I would take the alcohol, and then I would take it and go get drunk with my friends at the age of 9. You know, I like the way alcohol and I like the way drugs made me feel for a long time.
Yeah.
But I never knew how dark that road was going to become.
Your parents know about this, sir?
Pardon?
Your parents know about this, sir?
They didn't know at that time.
Okay.
No, I kept it hidden from them.
And
My education went from I was getting straight A's
yeah.
to failing. Did have a hard time. I eventually ran away from home when I was 14 years old, and I grew up in the streets,
Yeah.
and I never went back. And while I was living on the streets using drugs, you know, I got into, I had no way of supporting myself because I didn't have any job skills. So I got into criminal activity, and I began to do
earn
crime
money, right?
to get money.
Yeah, living, right? You need to live, right?
And whatever money that I made from my criminal activity, I would spend it all on drugs.
You told you married too, right?
I was married. I
Yeah.
did get married, but even though I was married, I got married to a woman who was not a drug addict.
Oh, yeah.
But eventually, she also became a drug addict
Because of you?
because of me.
Okay.
And I lost my children, and I lost a marriage because of it.
Yeah.
I was starving myself to death because I never ate. And eventually, you know, I decided to go to the programs,
Okay.
the 12-step programs.
Where about? It's in Kamloops? Or?
Yes, in Kamloops.
Okay.
And I began to go to the 12-step programs. And, you know, I began working on myself.
Finally, I'm going to ask you, do you have any advice to give teenagers?
Yes. Don't use drugs. You know, everybody has a talent today. People are talented. Find your hidden talent and use it. you're smart, you're worthwhile, and you will die using drugs.
You're doing some sports.
I myself today have become a competitive bodybuilder. And
Thank you so much for helping for this, this documentary.
Thank you for talking to me. Thank you.
What many high school students look past is that the adolescence time period is very volatile, and common drugs such as alcohol or marijuana have been shown to change brain function, leading to damage in cognitive function, and this issue needs to be addressed. High school drug prevention remedies include parental guidance, education in school on awareness of biological changes in the brain, which include in-class posters, brochures, and info sessions. High school security, as you see some schools in the States have metal detectors and x-rays. So if we choose to make harsher penalties in schools for either a student being caught doing drugs or having possession of drugs, increasing the risk will decrease teenagers getting peer pressured into doing these things. Drugs also affect the organization, and we're talking about the organization of a school or a workplace. So that includes premature death and fatal accidents, extra sick leaves, loss of production, tardiness, sleeping on the job, after effects of substance use, hangover withdrawals, which affect job performance, poor decision making, preoccupation with obtaining and using substances while at work, which interferes with attention and concentration, illegal activities. So if you have somebody taking drugs, there's a high chance of him also selling these drugs to other employees, and this results in a high turnover in businesses or at school.